I got involved at Riv. Probably I've been working here for like 5 or so years, but probably got involved as a high schooler or right out of high school, really.
I've been at Riv West Side since it started. Previous to that, I had been born and raised in the church, and then I took a vacation for a few years, kind of like 27, and then I came back to the church.
Well, I became a Christ follower in '91, and I started, I grew up in the Catholic Church, and not being disparaging, but just wasn't really feeling it there. And so I had some friends who were going to Riv back when they met at the Kellogg Center.
I was born in 1930, so I'm 90 plus.
There you go.
But I give thanks every time I sit down. I am blessed more than anybody.
Yeah.
I've been going to Riv for, I think, about 18 years, but I live in the church.
Yeah.
And I'm glad the church lives in me.
There you go.
Awesome.
I love that.
Yeah.
I was born in 2002. But so I originally got into Riv when we moved here, and sorry, TJ, this is gonna break your heart, but my mom made me go to Chaos.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Made you go.
Yeah, but I loved it. I started to love it. So after a few weeks, I was like, Mom, can I go? Can I go? Please, can I go? I was raised Christian, but you don't listen to your parents. You have to listen to someone else. So then that brought me more to Christ, and I just learning more about grace and then giving grace, really just, yeah.
When I was a young kid, my dad was in the hospital for 2 years. He came out of the war and he had tuberculosis. And my mother was a stay-at-home mom. She wasn't working. It was the church that basically pulled us through. So the community aspect of church to me appears much different now than it used to be when I was younger. I mean, everything was the church, the family, the friends, the support, the help.
And how you do community is very different. Like you said, I mean, community was literally community. Now you can have community with at different
families
levels too,
lived
in
more
depth,
in
yeah.
a group and closer. Why are you laughing, Dick? Are you laughing at me?
You can't believe what it was like when I first started going to church.
Well, you aren't that much older than I am.
Well, when I was going to church, I wore knickers.
Oh, well, you are that much different.
What knickers
You
are?
wore knickers.
Well, I still wear shorts. But
I see
had
that.
my first pair of long pants when I was confirmed at 14.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
the dress code is different in church.
Oh, the dress code is definitely different.
Because church everywhere, anybody went to church put on their best.
Yep. And I can remember my parents saying it, that getting dressed up was a sign of showing respect
Sure.
for God's house.
Exactly
Yeah.
it. When I first came to Riverview, I saw Noel up there in shorts, barefooted.
Yeah.
And I asked my son, I said, are you sure we want to go to church here?
I think it's interesting you guys say that because when I was little, we'd always dress up, like you said, and look our nicest and best. And I had no idea what I heard.
Mm-hmm.
And then just going to Riv, it is less I guess dressy, but I feel like I'm absorbing more and I'm listening and I'm like, wow, this is
Well,
cool.
and I think you're right. What we would have considered dressed up back then or what I consider might be totally different for someone.
What's important is your goal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think what at the base of it all is getting past that piece.
Right.
I mean, there's time I take my hat off when I go to my grandparents, and sometimes when we're praying, I leave my hat on because there's sometimes I want students to know that God does not require that for your heart to be
Right.
open for Him to hear you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's whose you are,
Yeah.
more than what you wear. So
I think joining church groups or church people is a big plus.
Mm-hmm.
I like to go to Bible study, not just to read the Bible, but just to
Interact.
communicate
Yeah.
more than anything
Yeah,
else with them.
Mm-hmm. You can't
You
pick
can't
and
just-
choose.
you can't do
TJ,
that.
yeah, but nobody said there was any rules. So
You try.
Make them up as you go, man.
this continues down that same track, though. Did you have or do you have a mentor or someone you looked up to?
So when I first started coming to Riv, I think it was 21 at that time. And I connected with Paul Denherter. one of the original pastors here. And Paul and I would get together and go to lunch. I mean, like hundreds of times we went to lunch. And Paul just spent time with me, just tons and tons of time with me, which was just, it was so foundational for me, so.
I think that's huge. We live in such a fast-paced society, and we aren't necessarily that great at setting priorities. And that's what it takes to be able to communicate, especially the gospel times. You need to have time with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can't develop that relationship and hit them over the head with the Bible,
Right.
Tell me about your mentors, huh?
I would say one of them. I don't know. You might know. No, just kidding. TJ, and then.
I didn't know it was me. Actually, I thought it was somebody else. I thought, no, stop.
No, but no, mentorship wise, like Emma for sure. She was there for me whenever I needed her. Which now doing the same thing, I'm like, I don't know how she did it, because like it's just the amount of time is crazy. Like I remember texting her at like 1 a.m. and being like, Emma, like this happened, like I don't know like what to do, and she'd text me back, and I'm just like, what? Like I didn't think someone could love me so much to reply, and in a timely fashion at 1 a.m. And now like thinking, I'm like, I would so do the same for like the girls that are in my group too. I'm like, oh my gosh, if they texted me and they needed something, like heck yeah, like let me like reply now. And so like I think that just like built so much. Like I'm loved, so like let me outpour love to other people. And I don't know if I would be giving as much like grace and love and time and commitment to things if I wasn't given that.
The amount of conversations we've had, about commitment for this very reason. If Paul took you out once, you wouldn't be talking about him.
Right.
Even 3 times.
Right.
And if he didn't call you into something, maybe you would be, but there's a missional piece connected to the why we do the thing and why we look, mentor, and why, we look to be mentored. And, when we talked about leading is like this awesome thing, which has been a vision of what we do and handed down from Riv. She talked about that. Yeah. Thanks for being leader. But it looks like you got a question there.
Listen, what do you see as a unique challenge in this generation that you didn't have in your life?
Yeah, let's skip that one.
Yeah.
No, that sounds interesting.
Young people today, I look and watch, and even like when I talk to my grandson, I look back, you have so many options, you have so many inputs, you have so, how do you know what to choose and what to believe and what to go with? I mean, unless you have someone mentoring you or guiding you, it's just...
They say Generation Z is endless information with virtually no mentors. There's no dinner table anymore. Actually, people are getting rid of their dinner tables all the time because people don't eat at dinner tables anymore. There's just less and less of that. And so, although that's a unique challenge, I think that's a unique opportunity too. Yeah. It's super easy as a person now that has 2 kids to invite other people to our house and say, hey, come eat at the table, or come eat and experience family,
I just think that if we would talk to each other more, we're more open and understanding. I think the olders are more open and understanding than the youngers think we are. And then maybe we're totally wrong about that. We don't know because we don't talk to them much, Or, I don't want to impose on the youngers and say, okay, this is the way it should be.
I think the older you get, the more forgiving you are.
Yeah, I agree. I guess that's what I'm trying to say, Dick. You're right. Yeah, because you realize you've been a mess all over the place. And what's nice about a small group like this is you can be open and you can talk. And we don't. We just, whether we're older or younger, we try and run around church looking like we're all these wonderful things. I'm just a messy mortal out there just hanging out,
I don't know anybody in the church that's older than me.
Yeah.
We're working on it.
So, it's always a blessing to me to be around people like you.
Amen.
Hello.